Right, welcome back to the channel. Stella's waiting for me to get to work. What are we doing today? Oh boy, it's always something. It's CRV every day. What do you call that? Fairgrounds Day or Groundhog Day, where the day just keeps repeating over and over. So, little background history. This CRV belonged to a customer of mine. I warned her about it being stolen. It got stolen. It got stolen with warm baked cookies in the car. The cookies were never recovered. The car was recovered, but not till after the thief got it stuck, over revved it to the point where it blew a head gasket and actually popped the radiator. The radiator completely just melted. They just kept revving it up. I thought the engine might be dead. So I put a new head gasket on it, and it lasted for about 1,000 miles. And the reason that I think something's going on with it is this bolt right here, this bolt hole. I pulled the bolt out. I marked it with this little orange tab. The threads on the bolt look fine. It didn't pull the threads. The block is aluminum, but we couldn't torque that bolt. All the bolts are supposed to be torqued in sequence from like 20 pounds, 40 pounds to 63 pounds is what I believe, foot-pounds. That one I could not get tight, and the head gasket blew again. And I got it sort of tight. I thought it was good. It wasn't good. So doing it all over again. It's on me. It's just the way it goes. So I got a better head gasket, not a non-Amazon one, a Felpro. And we're going to today clean this up. I blew out these holes, sucked out all the coolant from everywhere, and I'm going to tap and put a time Sert in this hole, and I'll show you what I mean. So in this little kit here that I purchased, 11.5 millimeter by 1.5, comes with a drill bit which you drill out the old threads, and then you tap them and you put in what's called a time Sert. This time Sert is 30 millimeters long. I'm going to use the old head bolt to insert the time Sert. I will put Loctite on the outside and oil on the inside so that I can screw it in there, and hopefully it will hold and give me new threads so that my head bolt won't pull out. I also got new head bolts, and the crazy thing about these, the only ones I could really find, looks like made in America. I mean, there is a bald eagle on a flag, but they're made in China. But if there's any issue with the bolt stretching or anything, I just wanted new bolts, so I'm going to do it right. So follow along. It's a little nerve-wracking because if I get this drill bit off, drill through the block, something weird happens, split the block, then we're out of luck. But the goal is today to get this time Sert in that hole so I can torque my head bolts properly and not have a blown gasket. So let's get working. Well, we're going to take this commercial break here to give you a little weather report on the channel. Stella's laying on the shop floor, which means it's hot outside. And she's not wrong. It is now the latter part of October and it's 82 degrees. That's nuts for Portland, Oregon. I, lifelong native, never have seen this warmer weather this late in the season, but we'll take it. Right, Stella? We are working on this perpetual work CRV, and I wanted to show you where we're at. So we're drilling out the threads for the head stud, and we got our drill bit in the hole. We got everything masked off and cleaned, including the dipstick and the exhaust, so we don't get metal shavings down in our engine. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to measure precisely 30 millimeters from where the bit stops to 30 millimeters up, and that's how far we're going to drill down. Hopefully we do it straight, and that way we can insert our 30 millimeter time Sert. Let's see if this will work. Okay, so we drilled down through the hole till we bottomed out the bit till we got to the white line. Now we're using our tap, and we're going to tap new threads all the way down to the bottom of the hole. And I've been stopping ever so often and sucking out all the material with the vacuum and my blowgun. It's very important to keep clean. So I'm now reversing my tap. Let's see, I did grease my tap beforehand and see what I pull out. Hopefully I've created some nice new threads. Seems like it's working pretty good. Yeah. It's looking good. Need to wear eyeglasses. So one of the trickiest parts is the tap tip needs to be flush with the deck. I'm a little over. I don't think I can get it any further. That's the furthest I've drilled, and I think I'm okay with that. There, I can get my handle back on it now. Okay, so after cleaning our hole judiciously with the vacuum, the air nozzle with the solid tip to get way down in there, and then we flushed it out with brake clean, we are ready to install our time Sert. So I'm using a head bolt, and you can see the threads only go to a certain point. So the threads of the time Sert are going to hit that, and then I'm going to be able to drive this all the way in. I'm going to smear Loctite on here and let that set up, and I'm going to oil the threads of the bolt. Here we go. Okay, so I just installed the time Sert. Let's see if I back this up, if it comes out with it or with not. Oh, it's in there. There's nothing on my head bolt. So that time Sert's down in there. That's awesome. Okay, so I have to say our time Sert is in the block. We haven't cracked the block. I'm looking right here, make sure I didn't bust it or something. It is aluminum. It's down in there. So the next thing to do is to clean up and put the head on and see if it torques. That's going to be the test. And if any other ones are loose, I can do the same. I feel a little more confident now. That's a little nerve-wracking. So the two center bolt holes are raised. They're a longer bolt. And I'm going to check, see how equal they are. So if I put that bolt in the hole, I'll put my finger right there where it's decked with the block, and I'll pull it out and see where my threads are here. So I've got about, 3/8, maybe even a 1/2 inch where my time Sert is a little higher. I just couldn't get it down because the tap wouldn't go any further. But you can see on the threads, there's another inch or so of threads that aren't being used. So that means that this will go further into the hole. It won't grip down here on the very tip, but it'll grip more here on the shank. I think it's going to be okay. Oh, I could, I suppose, put another washer on, but I don't think I want to do that. I'm going to see how it torques and pay very close attention to how this middle one torques up. So let's put the head on. Okay, so I was just doing a quick comparison of head gaskets here. This is the Amazon special head gasket that I put on. I thought would be fine. It is, whoops, blown or was leaking, probably because of a couple things. It's a 2-layer, you can see down there, 2-layer, multi-layer gasket. And the Felpro, which is the blue one, costs like 3 times as much, is a 3-layer. I'm not going to pick at that because it's getting ready to be put on. I did move the dowels to the head, so the head gasket, to the block, so the head gasket can't slip around. And I'm going to bring the crane over here and drop the head gasket on and put some bolts in, tighten it up, and see if we are good. I really hope we are. They torque up the way they should. In goes the head. Just got to spin it around. Okay, so we're getting someplace now. We've got our new head bolts installed. They're slightly oiled. I'm going to run them down with the ratchet gun just to cinch them, and then we're going to start torquing. And I hope, keeping my fingers crossed, they all torque up good. New head gaskets on. The head was redone, 1,000 miles ago. Cleaned all the surfaces. Boy, throwing all the good stuff out here. It's got to work. Success is not rated by anything more than just being out of breath and nervous as heck. It torqued up. Thank goodness. I had to sneak up on it. Couldn't do it in 2 separate torque settings. They say 22 and 63. I had to do like 30, 40, 50, and 60. I just felt like I was going to strip them out. That's the trouble with old aluminum blocks, I think. But anyhow, it torqued up. I'm going to take a well-needed break, and thanks for watching. I think this thing's going to live again, I hope, unless I have to take the head off for some reason, and I don't want to think about that. It's been a long day. Thanks for traveling along this nerve-wracking, harrowing journey and seeing if we can get this CRV to live again.